How's it going, bro? So for this video, I actually do have a list with me. First, actually scripted video, still gonna be speaking whatever nonsense comes to my mind, but I actually have some structure for this one, so let's jump into it. So many of you probably heard the usual, oh, you should go and, I don't know, drink 2 liters of water and lift weights and all of that to boost your testosterone. You've heard the general advice. And yeah, I'm actually 99% sure that that advice is very good advice. It's advice I apply myself. But it's become a bit overplayed in the sense that everyone knows that advice now, or at least if you've been researching this topic, you know it. So I want to dive into the more lesser known topics. So starting with number one is, and this is actually quite an interesting one, when you sleep at night, lie down on your back and have your legs as far apart as possible. So like literally sleep like this with your legs apart like this. Now the reason behind this is, as you probably know, your testosterone, your testosterone is produced in your testicles. Now if your legs are closed, your testicles are going to heat up, and also there's going to be less blood flow there. Both the heats as well as the lack of blood flow hinders how much testosterone your body can actually produce. And assuming you sleep for 8 hours a night, that's 8 hours where your testosterone production, I mean, your testicles are still producing testosterone, but not as much as it could be. So that's 8 hours where you're losing your full potential of testosterone production. So that's number one, and also that's something I want to add to it. Even when you sit with your legs as far apart as possible. Obviously, this isn't always possible, but when possible, do it. You help your testosterone production a lot. Now, number two, which is in line with the heat I spoke about just now in terms of when your legs are closed, then too much heat is produced, is don't take hot showers. Now, you've probably heard advice all over YouTube like 10 benefits of cold showers and whatever spammy videos that people have been doing for virality and just getting clicks. And don't get me wrong, actually, I personally think there are many benefits to cold showers, but that's a separate topic. I think, at the very least, just don't have a hot shower. Because here's the thing, I personally shower twice a day, so my second shower was a cold one, but my first one's actually not fully cold. It's slightly below lukewarm. Reason being is, if you read some research online, absolutely cold showers actually screws up hypertrophy. So that's basically how well your muscles recover to after training. So my advice to you is have the cold shower if you're showering more than 6 hours after having worked out. Less than that, have a not super cold, but on the cooler side shower. That way you're not screwing up hypertrophy, but at the same time you're also getting the benefits of literally not burning your balls. So that's the second way you can boost your testosterone. Third way, and this one I know is going to be a controversial one. Many of you aren't going to want to do it, but it's really easy to do. Don't keep your phone in your pocket anymore. Now, Hamza, famous YouTuber, he speaks about this quite often as well, and I think he got it from an author named Tim Ferriss. He wrote The 4-Hour Workweek, and he found his testosterone and even sperm count, for that matter, went up a lot ever since he stopped keeping his phone in his pocket. And actually it makes perfect sense, because even your phone does heat up a bit, and maybe keeping it in your pocket that's near your balls. But beyond that, there's radiation. And yes, there'll probably be some person coming with some study somewhere that says the radiation is low, and yes it is. But why would you want any radiation there anyway? And another thing of note that I've tried, it's interesting to me, is so I haven't kept my phone in my pocket for the last probably 4 or 5 months. It's been a while, but there have been 1 or 2 occasions where I have, in the sense that I haven't had a backpack with me or couldn't keep it in my hand. And the interesting thing I noted is when I took my phone back out of my pocket, I could almost feel some sort of current in my legs. And I think I became more sensitive to feeling that because I didn't have my phone in my pocket as much as I used to. So that's something to keep in mind. So quick solution. Wherever you go, take a backpack with you. Put your phone in your backpack, problem solved. Now, number 4. This is using fragrance-free products. This one actually goes a bit deeper in the sense that you should arguably not be using any commercially sold products that you can buy in the general shops. You ideally want to be using the natural ones, like, frankly, not stuff I've done yet, but stuff that has like aloe vera and all natural ingredients in, because all of the commercially available ones are endocrine disruptors, and what that means is it hinders how much testosterone your body can actually produce. Now, what I'm saying for now, this is a more accessible step to everyone. If by all means, if you can get the natural products, go for it. That's actually the ultimate step. But the more accessible step for most people is getting the fragrance-free stuff. The fragrance-free products, and note this, there's a difference between fragrance-free and unscented. Unscented is just as bad as the fragrance ones, because unscented just means that they've put some masking agents to get rid of the scents. And fragrance means it might have a bit of a smell, but nothing too strong, and they haven't added anything to it, because any sort of scent is actually what will be lowering your testosterone. So look for something that's unfragranced. And then I'm going to be open to you. I still wear cologne. If you want to go extreme and not even wear cologne, then by all means. But for me, it's like I stopped using body sprays because that's fragrance. I have a fragrance-free soap, fragrance-free body wash, so on. So, long story short, use unfragranced products. Now, this one, it's quite an interesting one in my family, because whenever I cook, and I cook a lot of my meals myself now because of the specifics of maximizing testosterone production and generally just workout recovery food. But yes, there's a lot of spices you can use in your food to increase your testosterone. I don't usually use all of them. I often do, but not all the time. But here's a list of them that I do use. Fenugreek. Fenugreek you get in like powder form, you get it in a seedish form, and you get it in the leaf form. Use any one. I actually have all three. I use all three. Doesn't taste the best, but it's not the worst taste ever, so I add it on almost anything. Chillies. Now, I know a lot of people won't tolerate chilies that well. Being a brown guy, for me, chilies is, I enjoy it. So this one's up to you, but chilies has been linked to higher testosterone. Nutmeg, that's another one. Garlic powder, ginger powder, and I wrote powder here because that's what I use. It doesn't have to be the powder, it can also be like the raw one. Raw form might be a bit bitter even, but it becomes a bit harder to work with. So yes, garlic powder, ginger powder, cayenne pepper, and onions. So I might make a list of this in the comment section as well, so you have a list. But yes, then nothing I want to add here is try not to cook with sauces. You can if you want, but I recommend you don't, because if you look at the ingredients at the back, most of them have sugar in it. Sugar decreases testosterone, and most of them has preservatives in it, also decreases testosterone. So be careful with the sauces you use. Then number 6, have a look at the ingredients on your protein powder. Now, we all know that soy supposedly, I'm actually not convinced personally, but soy supposedly lowers your testosterone. So avoid soy from your protein powder. A lot of them, especially mass gainers, has protein in it. Another thing is, obviously avoid sugar in it, but more importantly, avoid sweeteners, the artificial sweeteners. For me, those are way, way, way worse than sugar. If you dive into the research, if you have the choice between sugar and sweetener, choose the sugar. Sugar is not great for testosterone, but the sweeteners are much worse. Not just for testosterone, but for your general health. So have a look at your protein powder. Ideally, you should be using pure whey. Whey, it's not necessarily going to boost your testosterone, but it's not going to lower it either. So whey is perfectly fine. If you want to go on some sort of mass gainer, look for stuff with no sugar. Look for stuff with no artificial sweeteners. Especially there's something called a sulfate K. Definitely avoid that one. Very bad for your testosterone. Beyond that, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yes, if your protein powder has cocoa in it or cacao or how do you pronounce that? Well, but anyway, cocoa, the chocolatey thing, the thing you use to make chocolate. If it has that in it, then by all means actually buy it. Cocoa increases your testosterone, so that's actually a good one to have in your protein powder. So something to look out for. This one you probably have heard to some extent, but I think it's important, so I'm going to reiterate it here. Number 7 is get sunlight, and this is a key one. It's particularly important to get it first in the morning when you wake up. Ideally, it's sunrise, but it helps your circadian rhythm, that's your sleeping patterns. And that directly helps your testosterone. If you're not getting it first in the morning, try to get it precisely or around noon. So that's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Because that's when you get the most vitamin D from the sun. Vitamin D increases your testosterone. That brings me on to number 8, supplements. And yeah, you can supplement with vitamin D. I do personally. Be careful with that though, in the sense that a lot of vitamin D does have seed oils in it. Seed oils, in my opinion, is the number one thing that will lower your testosterone. So that's like any vegetable oils, essentially. So canola oil, sunflower oil, those are the ones that come to mind. The only cooking oil that I think is okay is olive oil. But anyway, going back to supplements, vitamin D, 100%, I would say supplements on that. Or alternatively, if you can't find a vitamin D without any of these oils in it, cod liver oil is another good one. I haven't tried it personally, but I've done research on it, and it's quite beneficial. It has the vitamin D in it, and it doesn't have any of the unnecessary oils, so cod liver oil. Another one I like to supplement with is zinc and magnesium, and you get them 2 in 1 oftentimes. Both of those have been shown to increase your testosterone production. Another one I have tried, don't think it made any difference though, but you can try it out if you want. I wouldn't personally recommend it because it's probably just a waste of money. It's a gimmick, in my opinion. But ashwagandha comes up quite often, so you can have a look into that. Don't get your hopes too high about that one though. Then, actually, I want to make a quick note. I haven't formally gone for any in-depth testosterone tests, but you can kind of tell what's working for you and what isn't. Then number 9, plastics. Now you know to avoid plastics, and I'm not going to dive into that too much other than yes, use a stainless steel bottle or even a glass bottle. And don't use a plastic bottle. That's probably the worst thing you could do, or one of the worst things you could do for your testosterone. But it goes deep, and then just don't use plastics. A lot of you probably don't know that polyester is also a plastic. And a lot of the clothing, even your bed sheets and pillowcases and all of that, has polyester in it. Now that's plastic and you're literally wearing it. Ideally, look for something that has 0 polyester. Safe ones that I like to buy is cotton. Cotton's 100% fine. Good for your testosterone. Bamboo. Bamboo is very hard to find, but bamboo clothing is good. And even silk clothing is not bad. So, cotton, silk clothing, and bamboo. Number 10, eat eggs every day. I fluctuate how many eggs I eat, but I have a minimum of 3 every single day. Eggs are, in terms of food, probably the best thing you can eat to increase your testosterone. Important notes again, going back to earlier. Don't fry it in any sort of oil. Olive oil is fine, but aside from olive oil, don't fry it in any other oil. Instead, fry it in butter. If you're an Indian guy like me, ghee also works. I personally prefer the taste of butter, but nothing wrong with ghee. Fried in butter or ghee, and that applies for everything. I often eat chicken for lunch. The chicken I put in the oven with the butter, no oil whatsoever. Don't ever use oil, really don't. Then, other than that, I have a list of stuff here that I'm not the person, frankly, who eats a lot of fruits and veg, but it's something I've slowly been phasing in. And it has some health benefits and does help your testosterone. So, a few that are going to boost your testosterone, or at least not lower it. It's pomegranates, bananas, red grapes in particular. Normal grapes don't really have as much benefits to them, so in terms of testosterone, that is. So red grapes, apples, blueberries. In terms of your veg, Potatoes are fine, but sweet potatoes are even better. Spinach, and if you like beans, black kidney beans are the ones you want to have for the ultimate testosterone boost. Other than that, a point that I haven't integrated in my own life yet, and unfortunately I doubt many of you would be able to yet, but it's something to look forward to and build yourself up to. And that is, get a reverse osmosis filter for your tap. The problem is most of us are probably drinking tap water. Tap water is not bad, but it's not great either. There's a lot of extra stuff that doesn't get filtered out from there. Big one amongst these is birth control pills. Now, it gets very gross, but obviously you probably know a few girls who take birth control pills, and when they pee, it gets put into the water system. Yeah, fun times. And now the water system can't filter out these molecules. They're a bit too small for almost any government or municipality's filters. So think about that. We are literally drinking birth control pills. It's very small concentration, so it's not anything major, but we are to some extent. That's not great. It's obvious that's not great. So get a reverse osmosis filter and filter that out. What you can do in the short term though is, at least from where I'm from in South Africa, I have a lot of shops that has water, and that is filtered water, so it would have all of these extra nonsense like the birth control pills filtered out. So you can take a bottle with and fill up your bottle there. Of course you have to pay for it, but that is an option you have. The thing I don't like about that is you then have to take some bottle with you. And chances are that's going to be a plastic bottle unless you have a big stainless steel or glass bottle, which I've been struggling to find. Maybe you have one, but I haven't found one yet. Because again, you don't want to have plastic in your water now either. So that's the 12 weird testosterone hacks that you probably haven't heard before, and I really do think it will be of value to you. I'll see you in the next one, bro.